Now, unless I'm just coming up with stuff out of the air, because I got no reason to make any of this up. And unless my investigator was just, token on a good one or reading a novel, he had no reason to make it up. He told me that these people would be reluctant to come forward and would most probably have to be subpoenaed. And if they got on the stand, would lie and say it wasn't true. Now, I'm telling you what he told me. Afraid, didn't want to speak ill of the dead. These are the things I was being told.
As the defense and prosecutors prepared themselves for the upcoming trial, an important and still contested exchange occurred between two longtime associates.
I had a client tell me that she had seen Stacy Stites and her fiance the morning that Stacy had apparently disappeared outside of a convenience store bar by the name of the Old Frontier in Page. I've known Charles Pennick, who was the criminal district attorney until recently. And so I approached him and told him that I had a client who might have witnessed something that was pertinent to the Stacy Stites disappearance, murder, and that I would be glad to furnish that information to him. And his response to me was, I have all the evidence on that case that I want or need, and I don't want to hear any more about that case. And basically I left it at that. Even when she told me this story, that she didn't know that that would necessarily be inconsistent with what everybody said had happened. In other words, she did not know what the fiance's story was about. I mean, for all she knew, he could have said we were at Page and we were talking and whatever. I went back home. But I understand that that's not the story that he told or the statements that he gave.
When you look at the pictures of the crime scene, what is real evidence is that she was not assaulted at that scene where her body was found. It's quite evident from the pictures there that the body was not drugged, it was dropped. Secondly, in the pickup truck, when they found it, they found her vest that she wore at HEB with her name tag on it. But yet, at one point when the crime scene team were working with her body, they rolled her over. Her name tag was stuck between her knees. Now, that couldn't have got there by accident.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with the fingernails. Do you mind? Okay, the fingernail thing really bothers me. And because have you seen the photos, right, of the crime scene photos where they have her hand up like this and it's a big picture just of her fingers. And they're ragged. I mean, I'm a nail biter, okay? But my nails don't even look that ragged. I mean, they look pretty ragged, but not that ragged. They're jagged edges. They're not filed, and they're so far down. I mean, they're like down to cut to the quick, you know?
Why would you cut the fingernails to keep you from getting evidence?
Okay.
Yet I'm gonna leave the sperm. No fingerprints, no hair, no footprints. The only footprints that was found was the footprint of their own officers walking around contaminating the crime scene.
What does Stacy have on her body that were never explained? Burns. Very significant burns that are never addressed. He simply states that the left side of the face and the left ear are covered with a post-mortem appearing almost third-degree burn. It says that, that on the lower medieval portion of each breast, there's a post-mortem appearing almost third-degree burn similar to the one on the face. It says there is on the medieval aspect of the right knee and upper left leg, there is another post-mortem appearing second-degree burn measuring 4 inches in its greatest dimension. 5 burns. Second, third-degree burns on her body, and there's not one mention of what could have caused it.
Some of the most crucial testimony came from Dr. Robert Bayardo, the medical examiner who performed Stacy Stites' autopsy. He concluded that her death was indeed associated with a sexual assault and that it happened around 3 a.m. on the morning of the 23rd.
I mean, you should always go back and check somebody. I mean, no, you know, he, for example, made this claim that she had been sodomized, and I don't think there was any proof that she was sodomized. He didn't find sperm. Then he suddenly decides while he's testifying that there was sperm near her anus. I don't know where that comes from. You know, that there was this, I guess it was a scratch near her anus or whatever, that it was then suddenly tearing because she'd been sodomized. I mean, that just didn't make any sense anyway.
We thought we had the crime scene tape, but apparently there's a lot of the tape that wasn't provided to us, that it shows where there could have been cross-contamination, because anal sex became a big issue with the jury. Big issue. And but it shows where cross-contamination could have taken place during that forensic investigation, because of not changing gloves when touching other parts of the body at the time.
The key on your ligature is, if you look at the ligature in these pictures, it's the wrong color. If she had died from ligature strangulation, it should be a pink mark. Now, if the ligature had been found on her, there'd have been a different story, because if, you know, her heart would have stopped beating, and then you would have started maybe seeing this. But this tells you she's dead. She'd been long dead when this ligature was placed on her neck. I confronted Bayardo about that in June. I said, when you look at the ligature, tell it's real post-mortem. I said, it's clear she died of suffocation. And Bayardo popped back at me. Oh, strangulation, suffocation too. I laughed. I said, not the same. It's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about that type. We're talking about compression, suffocation. He says, well, Dave, you're right. He says, it's very difficult, as you know, to tell the difference between strangulation and suffocation. You know what he said then? So I just guessed. A man's on death row. He says he just guessed.
One of the lingering questions for Reed is why his defense did not retain their own medical expert to challenge any of the medical evidence.
I don't think there's a lawyer alive who looks back on a trial that they've conducted, whether it's been successful or not successful, and says that they couldn't learn something else from it. So yes, I most assuredly will do things different. And I have done things differently because of that trial.